Alright, and we're back. I'm here with Nambo and the commentator Walkr.
Hello, I'm
Hello.
Nambo, and that's Walkr with me. And we're gonna be rolling some ball. This is a Super Monkey Ball ROM hack called Super Monkey Ball Gaiden. I believe it released in 2020, so it's, I think, 3 years old now, which is actually crazy. It feels like it just released, like, a few weeks ago. But this is an incredible Super Monkey Ball ROM hack that is the most widely played one as of right now. And for good reason, because it's filled to the brim with crazy obstacle course stages, and no better category is that showcased than the Master Mode that I will be running here today, which includes 10 brutal gauntlet stages plus a little combination lock at the beginning, which I'll kind of explain what that is here, but have Walkr with me just for kind of bouncing off some conversation, and also Walker's run this category before as well. Good experience.
I have.
But yeah, I'm going to be getting right into it, so once I select game start here, time will begin. I'll start countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. So
Off.
the first stage in this category is a little bit of a combination lock. Don't pay attention too much to what buttons I'm hitting, because if you do plan on ever playing this yourself, then I think it's a general little fun little puzzle to solve. And this is honestly one of the most, like, fun to watch people figure out for yourself parts of the pack, is this little, like, puzzle here and what the actual combination lock is. So pay no attention to what buttons I'm clicking, just kind of let yourself forget about it, and we'll be off into the actual stages soon enough. But it is technically part of the Master Mode, so it is part of the run. And it can be optimized. Like, you can play these buttons faster by clicking them quickly. And, oh, look, it's already done. So, yeah, that is just the little combination lock stage that gets us into it. And we will now be brought into a fiery landscape for our 10 gauntlet levels. And so there's going to be a little bit of a mixture of some crazy movement stages where there's just like a lot of ground movement that you have to kind of do quickly on thin platforms and stuff, with other stages that just get completely destroyed by full skips, which is what makes me absolutely love this category. Speaking of destroyed by skips, there we go. First one of the run.
Nice.
That skip is hard.
It's always good to see it first try.
Practicing that a lot. But yeah, this stage is mostly just ground movement and this little auto-scroller here. But that little skip right there skips about 13 seconds of gameplay. Skips some corner transfers on some tilted platforms. These platforms with arrows on them are conveyors. These are like a custom... Oh, I just fell off. These are a custom texture that are used by this pack. Most ROM hacks and most the vanilla games as well will generally use scrolling textures for conveyors, but in order to be a little bit less disorienting on the eyes, especially when looking at the ground, this pack uses these little blue arrow textures with checker markers on them instead. And you'll also see a little bit later on the stage, there's a custom bounce pad, which is another thing that this pack kind of has as like a custom feature. Ooh! That's a little back up there. If you don't quite get the height, you can kind of land on the platform before it. Yeah, need to let the nerves shake out a little bit here and get through with the rest of the stage. Yeah, these little walls make it you have to do these wire transfers relatively quickly. And this wire is a conveyor, so it's currently pushing me towards the direction the arrows are pointing.
Yeah, and you'll see a lot of those throughout this entire run, actually. A lot of different levels feature this and bounce pads as well.
Some of them get skipped, though.
Right.
But we are out of Master of All, our first big gauntlet stage. And here we get a little bit of a breather. This stage is very short. It still does get skipped because funny, so we're gonna do a little bit of this, little bit of that, bounce over the middle section of the stage. You're supposed to kind of ride those waves against the flow of the waves in order to transfer between them, but you can just kind of jump to the end and jump over one of the spikes that's supposed to block you from moving past it. And here we have the gaping pit of Tartarus, and
yeah, quite a jump from the last level.
This is widely considered one of the hardest stages to complete casually in this difficulty, and it has 8 different little buttons. You may be thinking like, oh, if the goal is down near the bottom, because, you know, you're kind of constantly going downwards, why don't we just jump straight to the bottom? And the answer is because the goal is encased in stone until all 8 buttons are clicked. And I can't just jump from button to button directly because of inconsistent button collision. Basically, you saw right there, I landed on it a couple times before it actually clicked. So buttons in this game will generally only click if you roll across them flat, and sometimes they'll click if you bounce directly on them, but we can't rely on that consistently enough to actually get this here, and we're going to be going for this ending here. Boom!
Very nice.
Let's go. That ending is so nerve-wracking because it's at the end of such a long stage. And yeah, these stages fly by because there's just a lot of crazy skips and stuff on them. Here we're going to be using the animation of the platform moving in order to jump up the hill. This stage is all about repeating the same stage over and over again, but with modifications each time. But we're going to be using a bit of a skip to jump to the top here, click this button, so we kind of bring in the rest of the stage, get about halfway up here, turn back around, and abuse the fact that that portal is sideways to go rocket up past it. And we have completely bypassed the stage. Let's go.
Very nice.
That stage actually used to be the most infamous in the run because you used to have to repeatedly keep going for that button hit, the inconsistent button hit that I mentioned earlier, until it clicked. But somewhat recently, in the grand scheme of this platform or this run's development, there was a strategy found to completely make the button consistent by just going for a backup that loses a tiny bit of time in order for the trade-off of keeping it consistent.
Definitely better than infinitely looping the button and missing it, though.
Yeah, that's like a funny little story I like to tell. Is one time I ran this at a previous marathon, and the button didn't click 24 times in a row, which I calculated the chances of that happening, roughly somewhere from 1 to 5,000 chance of happening on any given run. So that was funny. I'm not used to doing that casually. I actually just failed a little mini skip there. Never had to do that before. So that's fun.
Good backup, though. Good knowledge right there.
That stage just flew by. There's a bunch of little mini skips that you can kind of chain together to skip by that one. And then this stage is another example of a absolutely massive full bypass, if I can get it to work. So this stage, you control a little movable raft with these buttons. There's 4 buttons on it. There's play, fast forward, fast backwards, and reverse. And you're supposed to kind of use the raft as this like puzzle to go across the stage and open these gates while you're kind of racing against the raft at different points. But because of the positioning of this wormhole here, where you're meant to backtrack onto the raft and like click it later. Oh, wait, I can save this. Hold on. Just gotta move the platform backwards a little bit, and then click it. No, no, no!
No!
The button went away. It's so sad. But yeah, because of the positioning of this little wormhole platform here, we can just kind of use it to... Oh my god, this clip is being really wonky right now.
We were talking about buttons being inconsistent earlier, but their collision also tends to be pretty inconsistent, so getting this hit off of the button while having it press is a lot of the time really, really strange to get.
Actually don't need that button to press. Can I get a... Okay, no, I can't. I was trying to do a backup there. You're supposed to hit once on that little curved platform. The skip is pretty precise. Wait. This time I'm going to do it successfully. Come on. There we go. Okay, I'm going to stand in the way of the button. So that way it has to click. Okay, come on. And the raft is gone. Gosh, dang it. I will get this eventually. I cruised through the first few stages, so I have the time to spare, I think.
Yeah, you got a little buffer.
Oh, there we go. That's a good setup. Good hit there. Boom. And I'm not going to go for the straight and dunk there. That was a really bad angle. All right.
Nice.
And now we're on to stage 7, Pride. This is the wires park. This stage is all about different types and different varieties of wires. Every single wire past the first one is like abnormal in some way. This one has a conveyor. This one's made of steps. You can kind of see what's going on just as you see the wires themselves in play.
Mm-hmm.
But
just a bunch of variations on the wire.
the reason the stage is called Pride is because you are offered a choice at the very end of this really long wire challenge. It'll kind of fly by because I'm just going to walk right past the signs, but basically there's a really long easy wire and a shorter hard wire that has a little epic sign in front of it. And it's basically testing your pride. But because we want to go fast and the easy wire is slow, we're going to have to take the faster epic wire here. And it is, to me, the hardest part of the run because it is a very thin wire and I have a hard time balancing on them sometimes, so we'll see if I can...
Yeah, it's quite a bit thinner than like most of the wires that you've seen throughout the level.
So yeah, here's the signs.
Look at that.
I'm actually going really slow here to make sure I don't fall off. Okay, there we go. Through Pride. That is the big stress removed. Alright, and these next two stages are kind of a joke. I say kind of a joke. It's not like... They're hard stages, but they're very easily bypassed by these very goofy-looking full skips that are just absolutely going to fly by, especially if I first try both of them here. And
nice babble.
The music has been switching every few stages, and this song only sticks around for these two stages. So there's very frequent times in doing attempts of this category that you will literally hear no more than 30 seconds of this song. And it seems like this might be one of them if I can land this dunk. Boom! Already out of there.
The two just really funny stages to me, because one's a pause strat, and the other one just sends you up by hitting a wall.
Yeah, I don't know why that wall sends you upwards. I, like, literally no
know.
understanding. It doesn't make any sense. So anyways, this right here, that is a frame-perfect trick right there. I have to land a 160 frame-perfect window, and if I miss it, I have to just throw myself off the stage until I get it, because it saves like 30 seconds right at the beginning there. And this right here, the grand finale, is a massive, massive obstacle course, and because it's so vertical, we can't just skip the whole thing with one smooth motion, and because of that, it ends up being by far the hardest strat in the run, to learn at least.
Oh yeah.
It is
This, in my eyes,
crazy.
is just like one of the hardest RTA strats. It's just like so many different parts, one after the other, and they're all just so precise.
So I might be here for a moment, because every single time you mess up the hard second half of the strat, you have to go back to landing this one frame window at the beginning. I'm looking for 0.91 on the timer. I'm not even looking at the seconds hand because it's like right at the beginning. Whoa,
Yeah, just looking
there.
for that 91.
Okay. Not quite lining up for that. That sequence of bounces there in order to skip over that section of gameplay is extremely finicky. It's just like so hard to like line up the speed and distance you need in order to make that jump.
Yeah, you need really, really precise air movement to like sort of make
Whoa!
it around those
Okay.
peaks.
On the elevator.
Nice.
So
There
that
you go.
concludes the first of 3 kind of parts of this skip here. 4 if you count the frame. So gonna use a nice little clip to get up here, because conveyors are or bounce pads are actually just upwards conveyors, and because of that we can use the side of the bounce or the side of the conveyor as a bounce pad. And I messed up the second blue skip. Oh boy. Okay,
Yeah,
91
it really
again.
does not let up on the amount of skips that you have to do. You
Yeah.
finish up with one, and then the next one's just right there waiting.
Okay, nice. Through the first skip again. Just gotta focus here a little bit.
You're all good.
Okay, and then after we use this animation with the movement of the platform to get up here, we have one final flip against this guy here, and I didn't quite land it.
Oh, so close though.
That spiral is the final walkway to reach the goal. I just landed 91 3 times in a row, I think. That's pretty funny.
Nice.
But yeah, the rest of the stages just actually flew by. I was not expecting to land most of those as quickly as I did. But this stage is really hard. Especially with the frame at the beginning. This actually was originally found as an IL exclusive strat, just for individual level speedruns, where you're just retrying the same level over and over again. And it only became an RTA strat after lots and lots and lots of practice to get consistent at it.
Yeah, this run in general has gone through just a whole bunch of upgrades in terms of strat finding and just, I don't know. The evolution of this level specifically is just crazy.
Yeah, the oldest runs of this category were just like people doing deathless challenges on these stages. And just like, oh yeah, because I beat the stage without dying, I got a fast time. But over time, people discovered that some of the IL strats could be replicated. Oh my goodness!
Whoa! Whoa!
I just edge clipped the bounce pad there and it sent me way up. That is very rare. Oh my gosh.
That's the legendary skip that never happens.
Surely we get it this time, right guys? Ah, that's not good. Everything really just has to go perfectly. Okay. Here we go. Nice. Sorry, I'm being a little bit quiet on the commentary side. Just trying to focus on landing all these mini skips. Oof! The platform, I went a little bit too early, and so the platform wasn't ready for me, and so I hit the edge of it.
There.
My 91 hit rate is pretty good right now.
Yeah, I was just about to say you're hitting these 91s. It's like way harder than it looks to just hit the 1 frame window. And it's unfortunate because Gaiden has this like pause protection to sort of steer players away from pause buffering levels or like doing many pause strats. So there's a bit of delay after you pause to make sure you can't do that, so you can't just re-buffer to the 91 from higher frames.
Yeah, it's supposed to stop pause strats from existing, but in this specific case, it makes a much more obnoxious pause strat.
Right.
All right, there we go. Landed the flipping skip.
Very nice.
And now we just have one stressful spiral climb to the goal.
Climb. Yeah, the pause protection's funny, especially on Babel, because it's a multiple frame strat in a pack that's supposed to have you not pause.
And
So I
time.
just think it's funny. No banana.
I forgot to say time was coming up. Yeah, that was the final stage.
Very nice.
And that run flew by. But yeah, that's Gaiden Master. That category is really close to my heart because it has the most crazy strat play, and I absolutely love it for that. I love how crazy the skips go.
And an amazing hack.
Yeah, amazing pack. Big shoutouts to Kutzman, the creator of these stages. And big shoutouts to just the entire Monkey Ball community for generally being awesome. And Walkr here for helping commentate.
Of course.
When I was in big focus mode.
Alright. Is there still anything else you want to say before we move on?
I think I'm all good.
Okay, then next up is Super Maker 36, run by